still feel short though, but it's all good. Alright? We got Noyz on featured. Alright?
Yo.
We in Chinguzi Park, bro.
Yeah.
We in Ching Park, alright? The middle of Brampton. Shooting this thing.
Yeah, it's a unique episode.
With Brampton's own. All of us are Brampton's own, to be honest.
That's true.
Yeah.
Born and raised. Are you born and raised?
No, I'm born in North York. I don't know. What do you say about that?
Born in Malton? Oh my God. So yeah, I'm the only OG Brampton man then. Right? My life started here.
But yo, a lot of Punjabis were born in Malton, North York, Rexdale area.
Yeah.
That's where everyone was situated. So.
Yeah. People tended to.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of people like within my family friends, like they started in that area, like, and then they kind of moved up to like Springdale and Castlemore and all that stuff. So like Brampton was like
a downgrade, you know.
It's an upgrade, bro. What are you talking about? It's an upgrade, bro.
I just don't make this guy feel like shit.
Bro, honestly, my family came straight off the plane, bro.
Yeah.
They went straight to Ray Lawson.
Oh, shut
That's
up.
I've been there my whole life.
When was that? What year?
My parents came, I think, in '95.
Yeah. That was around the
95.
time when a lot of the Punjabis were moving to that area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then straight to Ray Lawson, bro.
Yeah.
Those are the ends. Shout out to Sheridan.
Yeah, that's like a heavy Punjabi strip from like Sheridan up to like that Nanak Sar Gurdwara.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess what was it like growing up in that area where it's like predominantly Punjabi?
Yeah, honestly, for me it was so natural. Like you learn Punjabi growing up as a kid in your household, right? That's the only thing you learn. So going to school, never knew English. So I'm talking about teaching Punjabi, right? And teaching tripping out. They're like, yo, what is he saying and shit?
Yeah.
So it wasn't a bit like it was something I was just born into, right?
Yeah.
So not really knowing anything other than just your people. It's more when you start traveling and then you start understanding, yo, you know what? Like, you gotta learn these things. You gotta learn how to be with other people. Because it is a little different, right? I feel like it's a little different dealing with different races and stuff, the way they talk, right? Just the way their languages are and stuff, right? So I find it a little different. I think it was a little bit of adjustment, especially when I was playing hockey, right? So just with dominantly white people, you kind of have to get used to how they are, right? Their mannerisms and stuff like that. So I found it like that, but how about you?
Yeah. I mean, I was in the Shikuzi and Mavis area. Grew up there. Again, same situation, dealing with heavy Punjabi population. But I'd say it's a bit more mixed compared to your area.
Yeah.
Right? And even going to the public school there, going to the middle school, the high school. But yeah, dealing with the sabzi mandis of freaking Ray Lawson, of Charlie's and Shikuzi. They had the Golden Groceries there. So I would go there all the time.
Oh shit. Yeah, I remember that.
J&J's is still there. It's a convenience store.
Yeah.
Haven't been there so long. But yeah, like just dealing with Punjabis, it was a good time. I remember one time in I don't think a lot of people experience this, especially if you're not from a heavy Punjabi area, but we had this Baba that would come during recess time during public school, and he would give all the kids a condimishri. And
what?
Yeah, straight up. And it was like good. I was like, oh, thank you. And he would give it to all the kids, but eventually someone tattletaled on it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's the thing about like culturally for us, like whatever, it's normal, right?
Yeah,
but, like,
it's like, yo.
If you were to tell like a white teacher, like, this old man that nobody knows is gonna come by and give out candy to the kids, right? They would freak out.
They freak out. So eventually, I don't know if the teachers intervened, but I know for sure the kids were like, oh no, don't take it. The teacher said don't eat food from him. But I'm like, yo, he's been giving me condimishri this whole time, so I'm gonna take it. And like, I know he's up now, he's chill. He's not gonna he's not doing it for harm. He's just doing it out of love, right?
Yeah.
So I had situations like those, but overall I think it was a good area. Now I'm in a different area, Queen Shikuzi. So again, same shit, just different place, more New York. Yeah.
Did you grow up in Malton? Like,
yeah.
So how was that, man? Because Malton's like the ends, like those are like another like very heavy immigrant area.
It was. It wasn't
right?
like you had your strips, like pretty much you have like Malton Gurdwara and then down Airport Road. It's all like Punjabi or South Asian owned businesses and shops and stuff, but it was like a good mix as far as like my classes and stuff like that. Like we had obviously a lot of South Asians, but we also had like a lot of Africans, a lot of like Caribbean people, East Asian. Like from what I like, Brampton was a bit of a change. Like when I first moved to Brampton, it wasn't as heavily Punjabi as it is now. Cause I remember like going from Malton, where it's like a really dope mix of people from all over the world, and it came to Brampton, and I was literally the only like Punjabi person in my class. And then it's interesting to see like within that 20 year how demographics change. Because now like I saw my niece's class, and like out of like 25 kids, there was only one kid in that class that wasn't South Asian.
That's right,
So,
dude.
It's been really cool to just to see how those demographics are shifting over the years. But yeah, Malton was really cool, man. Like you learn about, like you grew up with Jamaicans, grew up with like Trinidadian, Guyanese people. Like you learn about different music, different food, different lingo, slang, like all that type of stuff. So it was blessed, man. It was really a lot of fun.
Yeah, I find like growing up, like especially in these smaller communities, obviously our parents didn't have all the money in the world, right? They're coming here with just a bunch of pocket change, right? At this point. So living in these small communities, I felt like that community feel you don't get now like you did then. And it's kind of like, I feel like it's a kind of a loss to like newer generation that you're just kind of trapped in your own homes or whatnot. And even like now Punjabi communities are growing, we're getting into bigger homes and stuff like that. But I find like that time was like something special, man. Like I had so much fun, especially getting raised in like a smaller community, or like not a high income community, but it's more like, you know, everybody just really tight knit, everybody just together, right? You're talking like, especially
you knew everybody on your street.
Yeah, exactly, man. Everyone. It's like you go outside and everybody will be talking to one another. It used to feel like our parents will say, yo, it felt like Punjab for them in Canada, right? And the Gurdwara will be like down the street, right? So like I think those vibes are kind of lost, man. Like in the transition.
It's true, man. Like even when growing up in Malton, like I had like one Jamaican guy right across the street, and then a couple houses down from him was another guy that was in my class that was Jamaican, and like they were over all the time. We played baseball, I had a basketball net in the driveway, so they would just like come play ball. And then like my mama, they lived the next street over. So it was like it's having two homes pretty much. Like we could go there anytime we wanted to go. Like my mom, my mommy were there, my cousins were there, my grandparents. And then like next door was another one of my classmates. It was like this Muslim family from India as well. And they were like similar. They had a huge family that was living in that house, and then their relatives lived across the street. And then like my cousin's homie was like Portuguese guy lived down the street. He had like a Guyanese friend that lived down the street. So it was like you just build these connections. Because like, I don't know, I guess there wasn't much else to do, because like you're saying, not a lot of people had that type of money at that point. So you're kind of forced to make do and find things to do, right? So we were outside all the time. That's one thing I noticed now, like in my neighborhood in Brampton. I was like, you don't see kids playing outside anymore. Like back then, we were playing street hockey, we were playing ball, we were playing baseball, soccer, football, like anything. We were outside all the time. That was like, I rarely see kids playing outside.
No, even my street's just empty all the time, man. It's like, yo, like you wouldn't see as many people out as they used to. Before, you see like everyone outside. I feel like more kids are like maybe like inside with technology and stuff. I feel like that made a big difference too, right? Like especially having like such easy access to so many games and so much like entertainment. Just so efficient to just have like random shit on you, right? And it's getting cheaper too, because like as people are getting more wealthier, right? So it's easier to afford that kind of stuff. But then, so with this whole, like, you're being in the small communities in Malton, when did the music part come? Like, when did you feel like, yo, I want to start making music? Like, were there, like, family members that kind of influenced you on that, or?
To some extent, yeah. Like, I have a lot of older cousins, like my Masi and them. So my cousins, they're, like, I'm trying to think what the age gap is. It's like, so my cousin is, like, I think 8 years older than me, or 7 years, and then his sister is, like, another 3-4 years on top of that. So when I was like, you know, grade, like very, very young, I remember like grade 2, grade 3, I'd be like going over to visit them, and their parents would like buy music for them and stuff. Or they had part-time jobs or whatnot, so they had stuff like, I remember going and seeing like NWA cassettes and like Wu-Tang, Outkast, Biggie, all that stuff. So that was my first kind of exposure to it. Just seeing all these things, and it's like, yo, what is this, right? Like, just being so intrigued by it. It's like, it's cool because it's like, it's your older cousin, so it's like, yo, I want to do whatever they're doing. Because like, that's the cool thing to do. But just like, just reading, I remember like the Method Man cassette, like a lot of his song titles had slang in them. So I'm like, reading the song titles, I'm like, yo, I don't know what this means.
Yeah.
You know, like, what is PLO style? Like, why does he have a song called Biscuits? Like,
Yeah.
what's it talking about cookies? like, I don't understand what the hell is this, right?
Yeah.
And like the artwork is all bugged out. He had like these fangs in his mouth and shit. So it's like really cool stuff like that just like at a young age just really piques your imagination and just like it makes you want to learn more about what this actually is. And then like growing up, we were exposed to music all the time, like whether it was through classmates or whatnot, like they would bring their Walkman to class, or like they had older siblings that would play music, or just like people that would drive down the street and they would just be bumping stuff. I remember like on my cousin's street, it was like a Jamaican family down on one end, and they would always be outside just like blasting reggae music, or just like Shabba Ranks, Buju, like all types of dope stuff like that. So we kind of get exposed, like even though you're not looking for it, you still get exposed to it, right? Yeah. So I feel like my first time wanting to like write music was probably around like grade 5, grade 6. Yeah. And just like, because around that age, like, you know, I've been exposed to music for all that time, but not really understanding like what people were saying or how they're saying. But I think by around that age, I was really starting to understand the music more, understand lyrics, understand message, and just like really trying to break down what MCs were saying in the music. And then so I was just like, yo, let me try this. You know? Yeah. Like because I've been around it for so long, I've been such a fan of it for so long, so I just started like writing stuff just on my own. I tried to get my cousin into it, he wasn't really into it. Yeah. So I kind of stuck with it on my own. And after grade 6, we moved. Yeah. Right. So we left Malton, moved out to Brampton, and it was hard to make friends. So like that thing that I started, just like writing like stupid little rhymes to myself, that really kind of became something more to me then. Like, that was the only real way I felt I was able to communicate. Because in class I was like super quiet. I was like shy to approach people, like brand new environment, new settings. Everybody else knows each other because they all grew up together. I remember like because we had to share lockers in grade 7, right? So I remember like first day of grade 7, and they're like, all right, like, you know, find locker partners. So I remember it took me like all day to build up the courage to approach this one guy. And then like he was sitting, so I tapped him on the shoulder. I'm like, hey man, do you want to be locker partners? And I remember he's like, he had his back to me. He's like sitting in his chair, so I'm standing behind him. He like looked over his shoulder and he's just like, no. And he just like looked back over. I'm just like, God damn.
Shit, I have to do this again.
Yeah. I'm like, yo, that hurts, right?
Yeah.
That hurts. Like, it took a while. Like, it took me all day to build the courage to do that. And then like you end up being one of those kids at the end where the teacher's like, all right, if you didn't find a partner, I'm just gonna like pair you with somebody, right? And then like there's only like 4 kids at the end that like, didn't get a partner, so you feel kind of embarrassed. Like, everybody else got friends, they're all cool and shit. And then you're just like one of these kids that doesn't know anybody. So that's where I felt like I really, you know, dove deeper into the music because it served a purpose. It was really my only way of communication, communicating to myself and just kind of getting ideas down that I wasn't able to like say in classroom or say you know, to other people that were around me. So music kind of became that, you know, that friend that I didn't have any other friend.
I feel like having an outlet, especially for that, like for expression or whatnot, like anything, right? To just get something out is so important, man. Like especially like even on my end, like whenever I'll be going through something, like I just want to make a video or something. I want to make something, maybe take a picture or something to express what I'm going through. Someone doesn't really need to understand what the hell I'm going through, right? But just getting it out there, right? It's like it's a form of therapy, I feel like, right?
I'm just shocked that like by grade 5 you wanted to do something like that.
That's crazy, man.
Because I think at grade 5 I was listening to music too. I had the same thing where my older cousin was bumping to 50 Cent and the rappers of those time, like what was it? Eminem and
The Game, all those guys.
The Game,
Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne was a bit after, but even Dr. Dre. So I got the influence. I was like, yo, this is freaking dope. But I never had the urge to like create music. Or
I feel like I was always kind of drawn to just language in general. Like in elementary school, I remember I would write and draw my own short stories.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was like my favorite thing to do. It's like I would create these like fictional worlds, create these characters. I'd do all the animation for them. Like all the dialogue, all the setting, all that stuff, and then like. I would like just do that for fun. I just wanted to do it. Sometimes I would do it like if we had like an English assignment or something. Like that would be my go-to. It's like, all right, I'm gonna like draw a short story, write a short story. So I was always kind of like drawn to language, and even like amongst my cousins, like not to like boost myself or anything, but like I had like I used the vocabulary that was kind of like beyond what people from my age were using.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was always kind of drawn just to like language,
Mm-hmm.
and then I feel with hip hop because it's so heavily based on lyricism.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if you look at one verse from a rapper, it's like this long.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at like the entire lyrics of a rock song, it's like this long.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
just the amount of writing that goes into writing a rap verse, not even a rap song, just like one verse.
Yeah.
It takes a lot, and like as a kid, obviously you're paying attention to the rhymes, but then as you grow up, you start to break it down and listen to like message, listen to flow, listen to like cadence and rhyme pattern. How is he connecting this bar to this bar? And he's got an internal rhyme here, then he's got a different rhyme at the end, and it's just like really started like diving into like the craft of it. Because like growing up, listen to like all the Wu-Tangs and the Nas, and Tupac, Biggie, all that stuff. Like that was. It was an era when like lyricism was
heavy. Yeah.
It was very important. Like it was
like what you said mattered and how you said it really mattered. So I feel like I was blessed to kind of grow up in that era where people put so much pride into the written craft of it.
Yeah.
And then so I would just like headphones on, ride my bike, just like dive into it, study it, and just try to piece it together. Like, okay, how are they doing this? I remember like one time like when DMX came out. And like it was like one of his earlier, I think on his second album, and I just like recorded it on tape, and then I sat down and like hand wrote all the lyrics out for the song, and I was just like read it.
Crazy,
I was like had like these handwritten lyrics in my binder. And like I'm sitting in class, like okay, I'm taking notes, but then when the teacher's talking, I'm like flipping back, reading these lyrics that I wrote, just like trying to transcribe it off the radio that I recorded, and just like
that's
really
crazy.
just trying to break down the lyrics and the construction of it.
So did you want to create music at that point too? So you were focused on lyricism. Did you want to have the other aspects of creating a full-out song? Did you have that ambition at that point too?
I think that kind of started around like probably around grade 8.
Yeah.
So it was like from grade 5 to about grade 8, I was just writing. I didn't know anything about like structure or bars or chorus or anything like that. And then grade 8, so after I like made a few friends, like this one guy, me and him, we were just like super into hip hop. Like everybody knew us as like the hip hop kids in the class, right? Yeah. So it's like that was kind of the era you're talking about when like the Chronic came out, like Chronic 2001 and like Slim Shady, Marshall Mathers LP, all that stuff. So we were like super into all that, and so that's when we really started messing around with like, all right, let's try to write full out songs, right? Let's write skits. Like rap albums had skits, so like we were trying to like write our own skits. And like I would have a notebook, and within the notebook I would like structure it like, okay, I'm gonna have 15 tracks on this album, and then you flip through it, it would have the lyrics for every track on that album. That's sick. Plus like the entire dialogue from the skits that we wanted too. So it was like I really just enjoyed albums. Because I feel like if you had Walkmans and Discmans and all that stuff, like it wasn't like playlist now. It's like if you had one tape, you were listening to that entire tape the whole time, or like one CD, that was your thing for the whole day. So it was like just really enjoying the art of like crafting an album and everything that goes into an album. So like 8th grade was when it kind of clicked in my head, like this is what I want to try to do. And then, but again, I wasn't really sharing. It was just me and that one friend that I had that we like kind of were like sharing our art with each other. And then after we switched to high school, he kind of like left the rap alone and started hanging out with an entire different group of friends, started smoking weed, drinking, doing all that stuff. So I kind of felt like I was alone in my art again. So I just kind of stuck with it.
Did you ever think like in that point were you like, yo, I want to like maybe share this with the world, or were you like, no, I'm just keeping this to myself?
I wanted to, I just didn't have the courage to do it. Like people knew that I was writing, like around grade 11 or so. People knew it. I've been writing for years because like they would always see like I had a book with me. And I just feel like scribbling some stuff in there, but it never. I just never had the courage to be like, yo, let me spit this for you. So it was more so like my friends kind of encouraging me to kind of come out of that shell, come out of my comfort zone. So they were the ones that would be like, yo, like let me just see it, right? Like let me read it. I remember one friend was like, for an English assignment, he's like, yo, I need to write a poem. Like, can you just write a rhyme for me, basically? So I wrote a rhyme for him. So I got like an A+ or something.
Yeah.
So, I was like, so it kind of like boosted my confidence a little bit, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. Like my friends are kind of like, they're digging what I'm doing. So that kind of allowed me to share just a little bit. Like, I was still scared to come out because like I had just been writing for so long. I didn't have a voice, because it's one thing to write, but it's an entirely different thing to rap and to perform it.
Get your flow and all that.
Yeah,
too, right?
yeah. Because I didn't know anything still. Like I was, in love with hip hop for like so long at that point, but I didn't know how to write to a beat.
Yeah.
Because I would just write without a beat. I was just kind of just writing wherever I was, whatever environment I was in. So, yeah, it took me a while to kind of understand flow and like beat structure and all that kind of stuff. So that came later.
Yeah.
And I think once I learned that, which was probably like grade 11, grade 12, then that kind of gave me a bit more confidence to come out and actually spit it, because now it sounds like how they sound on the radio.
Yeah.
Now it sounds on beat.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas before it's just like, all right, this line's short, this line's long, this line's kind of like in between those lines.
Yeah.
So it's like cadence-wise it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
But once I understood beats and how to like write a rhyme to a beat, then that's when I kind of built a little bit more confidence to be able to share what I wrote with other people.
Yeah.
Yo, how did it feel to make that first song, man? Like when you had that first complete song and you're like, yo, geez, like did you feel like, yo, I just made a banger, or were you like, yo, I don't know?
No, it was so like I was writing, but like I wasn't writing. I didn't have original beats or anything.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like I would pick like, all right, I would pick like a Neptune's beat and I would write to that.
Yeah.
So it was just like mixtape stuff. Right.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the same as, this is entirely my thing, from the beat selection to the rhymes and all that. So that didn't come probably until like university time, or even like a little bit after, where I started meeting like Be Magic and Humble and all these guys and Sicknowledge, and started writing to like Sicknowledge beats, or writing to like Devious beats and all that. Because like those were the first guys that I actually met that were like doing the shit for real. Like they had mics.
Yeah.
They were recording to original production.
Yeah.
Like when I met those guys, that kind of blew my mind, because they kind of showed me there was a different level to it.
Yeah.
Whereas before it's like, okay, it's just rhymes that I'm writing to myself, or it's just like freestyles that I'm doing at a party for my friends. You know what I mean? So it's like the stuff that was necessary, but once I met these guys, then I'm like, okay, there's an entirely different skill set to unlock now.
Yeah.
Because like I knew I could write, and I knew I could put a song together, but like with like verse, chorus, structure, and all that. But to now actually vocally deliver, that was a skill set that now I had to catch up.
Yeah.
Whereas like other rappers that I would meet throughout high school and university, I kind of felt like I was at a good level.
Yeah.
Like I know, like, yeah, because you're kind of at that insecure age where it's like you're kind of like you're comparing yourself, right?
And you're kind of afraid of what other people are gonna think, right?
Like you're still figuring yourself out as a human being, let alone as an artist. So there's a lot of like insecurities. Like I'll hear other rappers spit, and it's like, no, I'm better than him. Right?
Yeah.
Like I know I'm better than that guy. Right?
Yeah.
Or if someone else is better than me, it's like, shit. Like, that kind of stings, because you take a lot of pride in what you're doing.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like throughout high school, university, anytime I would meet a rapper, I would feel comfortable enough into where I was at as a lyricist and as a writer. But then when I met like the Humbles and the Houdinis and the Magics and all that, then I was like, okay, I might be good as a writer, but vocally with delivery now, I'm like way behind, like years behind these guys.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to be around them and just kind of like soak all that up, and like being in their studio sessions and hearing the way they do it, and like take a little tip from like Sicknowledge, take a little tip from like Mandeep Sethi, and try to incorporate those influences, but do it in my own way. So yeah, it's like, I think Humble said it the best way, is like being a rapper is like being a baseball player. Whereas like you got to learn how to throw, you got to learn how to run, you got to learn how to hit, you got to learn how to catch, like all these different skill sets that you have to master in order to be a good baseball player. As an MC, it's the same thing. You got to learn how to write, you got to learn how to flow, you got to learn vocal delivery, then like being on stage and like learning how to navigate around a stage and work a crowd. Like those are new skill sets that you develop as you go.
Do you regret not coming out with your lyrics and putting it out to the public at an earlier age?
I don't know if it's a regret. I mean, if I could live my life over again, I probably would have tried to share it earlier and sooner with people. But I don't look at it as a regret now. Like I feel like I'm practicing all the time.
Yeah.
Right. Whether I'm like driving in the car, whether I'm just like, sitting at home, I'm always trying to soak up something from another artist or trying to experiment with something of my own. Well, I think some of it too kind of comes down to technology and access. Whereas like kids nowadays, they have so much more access to like recording technology and just resources that weren't around as much. Like in high school, is like in order to record, you had to book studio time. Right. People didn't have home setups, so it was kind of like, I took the long way to get there, but it's all good. Everyone's path is their own, so it's not really a regret. But everyone has to find their own path to get there, and that just happened to be mine.
It's crazy because like even like back then, like it wasn't easy to record. Like you had to actually buy equipment and record it, right? Like whereas now you can record off of anything almost. Like you could get like your phones. Like all these kids have like iPods and stuff. Like they can easily just record off of any device.
Like even I saw this one dope TED Talk by Steve Lacy from the internet. He did his entire EP on his phone. Like he would plug his guitar into his phone, record that, do his vocal. He had like multi-track on his phone. It was like insane the way he did it. Now people can be so self-sufficient. But coming up in like high school and university age, I was like, I didn't know how to make beats at that time either, so I was dependent on someone else for everything. Like I could write and do all that, but I had to go to someone else's studio. I had to have someone else make the beat. I had to have somebody else mix it. I had to have someone else shoot the video. So it was like so many different elements of your creativity that you're kind of outsourcing. Where I feel like the dope thing about now is that kids coming up, they can do everything in-house. They can do it all on their own. And it really allows you to kind of, own every step of your creativity, from idea to execution, which is awesome.
That's insane. Like even you have so many artists now that are like big artists that have started like that. Like for example, like I think of like Russ. He started off just doing everything on his own. I think he's still doing it all on his own, right? So like that's insane. Like like having that opportunity to do that. Like I think one thing that a lot of people don't see is like, the opportunity's right there now, especially with like all the technology that we do have now. Like kids can do almost anything, man, especially when it comes to art. Like there's so many like ways to do it, and it's so easy now because like almost every kid probably has like some type of device at home. Like I'm pretty sure like a lot of school requirements are to have a device now at this point. So it's like insane, man. Like just how like where it started and to now how it is. Like I think about it myself. I'm like, when I used to make videos when I was a kid, like I actually had to buy a camera and shoot it, and then like somehow export all that footage into my computer and edit it. Right? Like off of like Windows Movie Maker or something. Whereas now, like I can just record videos off my phone and just edit them. Right? There's softwares available to do that. So it's insane, man.
Even though it might be easier, I'm pretty sure there's some kids out there that struggle to even put themselves out there, like in the same situation as you. So what tips would you give to people like that who are in your situation, who have lyrics, but they're afraid to put them out?
It's a tough question.
That is a tough question.
Like I feel like a lot of like even myself, I was like, when I was a kid, I was afraid to sometimes express myself through 100%. Whatever methods I did have, right? Like I'll be afraid to like I was into music too growing up, but I never wanted to get into it because like I didn't know what people would think of me. So I'm like, I'm not even
with
gonna
any
start.
form of expression, it's very personal. Right? So it can be intimidating to create something that means a lot to you and then put it out for people to poke at and interpret and analyze. So I definitely get where you're coming from with that. I feel like if there's a kid that's looking for, that hasn't had that or doesn't have that confidence yet to put themselves out there, I would say just find one person. Whether it's like a sibling, whether it's a parent, whether it's a friend, cousin, whoever it is. Just find one person that you feel comfortable enough to share your stuff with. And just like show that one person. Like someone that you have that comfort with.
Just start there. Just start small, man.
Just start with what's around you. Or even the great thing about it too with like social media and stuff is like just make a fake profile. Right? Like use a fake name, use a fake avatar. Like you know what I mean? Like if you're a photographer and like you're scared to show people what you're taking pictures of, like there's an anonymity to the internet where you can post stuff and no one knows that it's you. Right? It's a little bit different with music because like people still hear the voice, but with other aspects like videography and like photography and stuff, you can still get your art out there and show people what your expression is without kind of having to be subjected to people knowing that that's you. But as far as like other forms of art where it's a bit difficult or a bit harder to obscure yourself, like with music and stuff, then or acting or whatever the case is, like, yeah, just find that one person.
Mm.
Because that kind of helped me. Like, I had a couple of homies in high school, and first thing I did, I was just like, I couldn't spit it to them. I just literally handed my book. I'm like, all right, read this one.
Yeah.
I was like, no, don't read that one. Read this one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just like trying to, just feeling comfortable enough that if I show this one person, and if they say they love it or if they say they hate it, it doesn't matter, because like that's still the homie regardless.
Yeah.
So just like, find that one single person that you have that connection with, where whatever type of criticism that they give you, whatever type of feedback that they give you, you're not gonna take it one way or another.
Yeah. Was there ever any like, so I'm assuming that you first started off sharing like your art and stuff with your friends.
Yeah.
But then how did like the family situation, like a lot of immigrant families are more like, like they're coming from backgrounds where they've been working their asses off, right? So they don't really understand like I assume like the art aspect of it. So how was it with your family? Was it like easy or?
No, it was hard, man. It was definitely hard with the family. Especially with my cousins. Like, I remember one summer, cause like I was just like I was always out. Like, I was just at parties, and not like I was like some wild party kid or anything like that, but like every weekend, like someone would have like a house jam or something like that. So I would just go over and I would just rhyme and whatnot, just kick some freestyles.
Oh really?
Yeah, just go hang out. It's just something to do, right?
Yeah. When was this? Like what age?
This was like university, so I'm talking about like 2006, 2007, around that time.
Yeah.
And then like, my cousins were like, okay, so you're going to these parties and whatnot. You're rhyming for other people. Like, why can't we hear your stuff? Right? So I remember one time they like trapped me in the basement. And they were like, yo, you gotta spit something for us. We're not gonna let you leave till we hear something. Right? And I remember like I felt like I was 10 years old again. I just didn't have that courage to like actually to rhyme for people. And it took like an hour. They're just like, yo, we're not letting you leave till you rap.
That's nerve-wracking, man.
Yeah. So like whatever, spit it for them. It was cool. Like, they really liked it, and then they started telling uncles, aunties, all that type of stuff. And then so I remember like birthdays would come around, same type of thing would happen. Like, so uncles and aunties would like corner me. And they'd be like, all right, yo, so you rap, right? Like, oh man, this is weird. I remember like one year, like my grandma was like, she like cornered me in the kitchen, and she's like, let me hear something. I'm like, you don't even understand English, you know what I mean? But it was cool. They were just like, they were just excited. Right? Like, they just wanted to hear something. Like, yo, this kid does something. Like, let me just hear it. Like, I love this kid. Let me hear what he's got. And it wasn't even from like, it's different like when you show your friends too, because your friends could still offer you some sort of feedback, but your family, they just had a joy in wanting to hear it. Right? It wasn't even like, oh, let me hear it. Let me see if you're good. It was just like, yo, let me just hear this. Like, what, you have this talent? You know what I mean? So it was like, it was, I feel like it was harder to share with my family than it was with my friends.
For sure, man.
I don't know why that was, but it just kind of was. But then
probably weird, because like, yo, you're rapping, right? So like, to them it's probably something so foreign, right? They're coming from like Punjabi music, which is very pop, right? So like, hearing rap, they're probably like, yo, what is this, like God, I do this or something, right? They're probably like It does, like, that's the thing, when you show a friend, like I could spit a verse for a friend, like they'll catch every line. But like, I spit a rhyme for my grandma, or I spit a rhyme for like my uncle. Right? Like, they're not gonna catch it. So I felt like my mentality was like, well, what's the point? Like, what's the point of sharing it with you if you're not really gonna understand it? Because I was one of those kids, like, my lyrics are deep and meaningful. You gotta understand everything I'm talking about, otherwise it's like you don't deserve to hear it. So it's just like, whatever. It was my own like stupid ego at that point.
I deal with the same situation, especially with my videos that I make. Like, my dad will ask me, he'll be like, yo, the Kale creative video and all that. I'm like, Dad, I'll show you later. And then I just keep pushing it. I just like, keeps getting delayed, but I never end up showing him. And like, they don't know what I really do. One day they're gonna find out. Like, my mom actually has Instagram, so
she's gonna find you.
She's gonna eventually see something, right?
Unless you block her.
I've contemplated on it, but I'm like, nah, forget it. Because at the same time, I do want them to see it, low key. But at the same time, I don't want to go out of my way and actually show them, right? So it's like a conflict within my heart. But I deal with the same situation, man.
Same, man. I feel like I don't think I really faced a lot of that. I think it was more like if it was like a lot of personal videos that I'll be posting, like I didn't want my family to see that side of me sometimes.
Yeah.
So I'll be like, yo, I just want to keep that to myself, or like
Yeah.
let the outside world see that side of me,
Yeah,
right? And like that,
yeah.
my family just knows me as the kid that shows up home and who I am at the dinner table, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like once you get over that, it's different, right? They start understanding, and then it just changes from there. I feel like they'll just let you do your thing.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, and I think why my family was also so interested in what I was doing was because growing up I was a lot quieter. Like I was
Yeah.
very reserved and introverted. So people would be like, "All right, this guy doesn't say much. What the hell is he writing about?
Yeah.
Right? What does he have to say? What is
Yeah.
he talking about? What is he
Yeah.
hiding from us?" So
Yeah.
I think that was part of the curiosity as far as why they wanted to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
They probably see like a whole different. They're like, whoa, I didn't know
Yeah.
this kid could do this.
Yeah, because like around that time I was heavy into like political hip hop, like Immortal Technique and
Yeah.
all that type stuff. So I was writing a lot about like politics and social
Yeah.
issues and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Wow.
So they were just like, yo, like,
Yeah.
this kid is smart. Like
Yeah.
where is he picking this stuff up from?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just kind of a curiosity, and I
Yeah.
feel like when you show somebody that something that you've created to somebody, like it's a chance for them to learn more about you.
Mhm.
For sure.
Like you're saying, like you create these
Yeah.
personal videos,
Yeah.
and then they can see it and they can interpret it, and they'll be like, oh, I didn't even know that he felt that way,
Mhm.
Yeah.
or I didn't know he was going through that
Yeah.
type
exactly.
thing, right? So yeah, I think by sharing my art, it just kind of allowed the people around me to just get to know me a lot
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might just be the issue. Like, I'm trying to dissect it. It just might be
Yeah.
that, like, I'm not opening up. Like,
Mhm.
if I really think about it, even with my relationship with my parents, like, I don't
Yeah.
open up too much to
Yeah.
them, right? I keep a lot of the stuff personal. So I guess
Yeah.
that's probably a part of it. Because in the vlogs, I guess I'm a bit more open.
Yeah.
Maybe not too much, but it's a bit of a side that, like, they don't see, right?
Yeah.
Or even whatever other creative videos that might be under their Revive or anything like that,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So I completely get it.
It's
Yeah.
interesting, man. It's interesting. Because like, growing up as a kid, I'll be like, yo, I was so afraid of what other people would think of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, I used to, like, I'll do random shit. Like, I'll, like, randomly, like, there's a point in my life where I started, like, making, like, stupid beats, like, small, like, really short
Yeah.
beats.
Yeah.
And then I'll be afraid to even share that with people. So I'll just keep it to myself. And I
Yeah.
never, like, showed anyone. Because I was just,
Yeah.
like, so afraid of what people think. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, and, like, I think a part of, like, at some point in my life, like, probably, like, I'll say middle schoolish, right? I was listening to a lot of Punjabi music, right? It's
Yeah.
like obviously born in Brampton, right? That's the
Yeah.
only thing I'm listening to, right?
Yeah.
At this point, right? So always had a curiosity of wanting to sing. And my dad was singing when I was like, he was a singer at one
Oh,
point,
okay.
right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
this kind of thing kind of ran in my family, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to kind of try it, but like just being so afraid to do it because I didn't know how people were gonna react.
Yeah.
So I just never touched it. And I feel like that expression was kind of like there was a period of my life where like I didn't have a formal expression just because I was so afraid to let it out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, at that age too, like, if you make something, you spend a lot of time making something, and someone says it sucks, like,
Yeah.
that's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Right? It's enough to, like, deter someone from picking it up
Yeah.
again or wanting
Yeah.
to do it again. So it makes sense, like, why people are reserved in sharing stuff that they create, because you're opening yourself up to judgment. Yeah, so
You kind of have to get past that, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yo, like, kind of have to stop caring what other people think. But when you're that
Yeah,
young,
that's
it's
it.
like, yo, it's like, yo, it's almost like that's the only thing that, like, revolves around you. It's like, yo,
Yeah.
it's just the people around you because, like, you're in school all the time. So,
Yeah.
like, your peers, like, what they think of you is very important.
Yeah, like,
right?
that's your entire world
Yeah,
at that
man.
point.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is the only thing you're seeing. You're going to school, you're coming back home. That's the only thing that you know.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, yo, you're afraid of what they're going to
Yeah.
say.
But I think that's where the mentor comes in, right? Or
Yeah.
not even a mentor, but just someone else to be there with you, like, as you said. It helps
Yeah.
out. Then that person might encourage you to be like, yo, just post it, man.
Yeah.
Or just, put it out there. Or
Yeah.
low key, if that person might just put it out there for you. And you're like, but at the same time, you might be like, yo, I wanted that, right? But I
Yeah.
couldn't do it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not just even young people. I feel like older people, like
Yeah,
in their
for
20s
sure.
and 30s, deal
Oh
with
yeah,
this same
totally.
man.
shit,
Like, Dusty was just telling me the other day, he was at, like, a hall party, and the worst is when someone at a hall party comes up to you. Oh, bro, I do this, I do that. That's the worst thing. But
Yeah.
Dusty was saying there was this guy that was, like, almost 30, and he came up to Dusty and he's like, yo, I rap, but I've
Yeah.
never actually, like, put out any music.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
there's people that can just kind of let that fear consume them to the point
Yeah.
that they can be 20s, 30s, 40s and still have that that burning dream within them that they just
Yeah.
never took that first step to actually pursue and actually try it.
Yeah. Just having that I don't give a fuck mentality. That's it.
Yeah.
Just post it.
You have to learn that, man.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of
Just
kids.
push it
Like,
out there.
I think it comes with growth and age, man.
100%.
Because like
and all that.
now that I'm a little bit older, looking back at high school, it's like in the grand scheme of
Yeah.
your life, like high school doesn't mean
Yeah,
anything.
nothing.
It
It's
doesn't
such
mean
a
It
small
doesn't mean
period of
anything,
life.
Yeah. Right, so yeah, man. Like I do wish I was able to like build that confidence and build that courage a little bit earlier, so I could just share it and just like, you know, expedite my development in that regard. But like you're saying, at that point in time though, it's hard to look into the future and say, you know, I'm gonna be okay in like 5 years because day to day this is all that you're living, right? You have your social circle and then you have your friend, your family circle, and that's it. That's your whole world.
Yeah.
So it's tough to put yourself out there in a way that you're worried how people are going to perceive it, especially at that age.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, for you it was a process, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, it went over time. So many years from grade 5 to until university.
Even still now, like there's still stuff where I'm just like for example on Lo-Fi Glory, like some of the songs that I wrote, and I'm just like, yo, I don't know if I want to share this. I mean? Like because the stuff was like it's very personal, or it's like just a different side that I hadn't shared in my music before. So I think as with growth, you just kind of, like you said, just develop that attitude where it's like, all right, whatever, I'm just gonna put it out there regardless. Right?
100%.
You just kind of develop that thicker skin and you know just that ability to kill that fear just a little bit. And just, you know, put it out there. And I think like certain artists, like Humble says this all the time, like, you know, you put all your blood, sweat, and tears into a piece of work. That experience is yours, but once you put it out, it's not yours anymore.
It isn't.
Right now, it's up to how other people will carry it and interpret it. And that's the same way that we consume any media too. Like 100%. Any album that I love, like you don't think that artist was scared to put that out? You know what I mean? Like you don't think Nas was scared to death to put out Illmatic?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like, you know, Wu-Tang wasn't scared to put out 36 Chambers. Like they put so much, you know, heart and soul into creating that piece of music. And literally, like, their livelihood to get out of whatever situation they were in was dependent on people connecting with this. So, like, the stakes are so much lower for, like, a kid like me that was, like, in the burbs that's just, like, scared to share his music. So, you know, just take that step. You know what I mean? Like, that's the advice I would give to somebody that's just trying to build that courage or build that confidence. It's like, just take one step. However small that step is. Like, start with a single person.
It makes a big difference.
Even in darkness, still seeking to spark this and restart. Feeling I need to breathe in a cartridge. Driven by reason and heart. See that I fought with old thoughts. I leave them in chalk. Feeding my clocks as I march on. Living this art form. And swimming harder with blood and water with sharks.